through unprotected sexual contact with an infected partner, and body fluids are exchanged.
How did AIDS change the world, or has there been no change in the world with AIDS?
Certainly there's been a change in the world with AIDS because it impacts the globe. There are over 40 million people on the planet who are infected with HIV, and that's infected. Those are not touching the individuals who are affected, which means their family members, their loved ones, their co-workers, their friends, their neighborhoods. It goes on with racism and prejudice that occurs not only in our country but across the globe. It is taking a look at sexual exploitation as well as early prostitution and intimate partner violence. It has taken a look at how we handle prenatal treatment. It has taken a look at how people interact with each other in a relationship. It has taken a look at the criminalization or decriminalization of disease, depending on where you are.
How do you think AIDS has changed sex education in schools?
Here is, very specifically in Maryland, AIDS made it when Governor Schaefer was in office, and that's been long before you came onto the planet. But when Governor Schaefer was in office, AIDS made an impact in the way sex ed was taught in school, in that it became regulated for HIV education to be taught at every single school level, elementary school, middle school, and high school, and that's part of state regulations that occurs. It happens there is no school that can get out of doing that or providing that education to individuals. It has made people take a look at what is known as comprehensive sex education, where it is not abstinence-only programs, even though abstinence-only programs do have a great impact. So it has broadened discussion. It has also opened up after-school programs where people can in a larger realm.
The age of 17. My story of how I contracted HIV was really unusual and different. I progressed to AIDS within 3 to 6 months, had PCP, had pneumonia, had all these opportunistic infections. So my body really, well, I just saw the full brunt of actually what this virus could do to you, but you sure as hell know when you get those words, you're HIV positive, there's nothing manageable about hearing that. I do remember when I was asked questions about my history and past, and it was something that I didn't feel confident enough or old enough to be able to talk openly and freely with my mum, also present as I'm talking to this health professional, because I was only 17. I hadn't come out to my family as being gay, so that made it even harder, because it's like, first of all, my parents knew I was positive, then it's like, how am I going to tell them I'm gay as well? It's sort of a double knock, so I found it really difficult to kind of get my head around that. I actually didn't tell them I was gay for a long time. Worst kind of news you could be given at a young age. I've had 2 relationships at the time, so I didn't have much experience even in self-disclosure or how to tell partners. So I kept very early, much to myself. I didn't want to try and date or go out. I didn't have a normal sort of teenage years, I guess. At the time, I was really struggling with, the HIV and what that actually meant. How am I going to deal with that? Also, just making decisions and choices, whether I was going to go to uni, what work am I going to do, coming to terms with being gay and coming out to family and friends. How was I going to do that? Because I found the HIV that was just, it wasn't a choice that I made in telling my parents. They were just there. They were supporting me. I was that sick in hospital. It was obvious that something severely bad was wrong with me. I was extremely lucky. I've been very healthy. I'm alive 11 years on. And that was a discussion that doctors said if I didn't start treatments 11 years ago, I wouldn't be alive 10 years later. So they are working. I'm normal, I'm healthy, I'm getting on with my life, and I'm like everybody else. And it can happen to anyone. It's not just a gay disease.